Welcome, everyone. My name is Andra Bayless, and I'm honored to welcome you to our Mohanji Center of Benevolence, Heart to Heart Women's Circle. We'll hear the stories of special women who've greeted life's challenges with poise, compassion, and love, with an elegance of character that will warm your heart. Mohanji, the humanitarian and philanthropist who founded the Mohanji Center of Benevolence, inspired the Heart to Heart Women's Circle. He often speaks about the importance of women, saying, "Women have been the backbone of society ever since the beginning of mankind." Mohanji feels that women are actually the encouraging force helping to transform humankind into kind humans. He feels that the 3.5 billion women around the world are worthy of great respect for their many contributions to the family of humanity. So you will see through listening to all these wonderful stories of these special women tonight, how each has made a difference in the world. May their stories inspire your mind, kindle your heart, and illuminate your soul, as well as inspire your own life's journey. Naturally, you will have questions, so we've put aside a few minutes for you to ask these questions. But please wait till all of our guests have had a chance to share. And now, my dear friend, herself, a woman for all seasons, Savi Ashtamurthy, will introduce our facilitator, Dr. Dinah V. Tungol, MD, for tonight's program. Savi?
Thank you for the beautiful welcome speech, Andra. Let me introduce you to our wonderful facilitator this evening, Dr. Dinah V. Tungol, MD. Dr. Dinah is a medical doctor who has practiced both as general adult psychiatrist and child and adolescent psychiatrist. Dinah dedicated her life for almost 38 years to the psychiatric needs of the underserved northern part of the state of Maine, where indigenous Native Americans like the Mi'kmaq live. She was trained in both specialties at New York City's Mount Sinai Medical Center affiliated hospital. Currently, Dinah is the editor of our H2H newsletter, and in 2024, she became a core member of our heart-to-heart leadership team engaged to empower women in today's world. Welcome, Dinah. Over to you.
Thank you for that introduction. We are fortunate tonight or this morning to have three special guests today, Kavita, Jeanette, and Penny, who have wonderful stories to share with you. Our first guest is Kavita Malya. She's a wildlife conservation biologist from Mumbai, India. Kavita is also an environmental educator, documentary filmmaker, and an environmental playwright. She has worked with local indigenous communities and also with indigenous fishing communities to improve their lives. Her special focus has been with youth and women. Kavita has been a strong advocate for social, educational, and economic change. Our focus is on Kavita Malya. Kavita, you had a lifelong dedication to wildlife conservation and even became a biologist, an environmentalist. Was there a particular incident that caught your attention and inspired your work in biodiversity conservation? Essentially, what led you to this field of work?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the beautiful introduction and also for having me over, sharing this platform with these amazing other women. Thank you so much for that. And now coming to answering your question. I was born and raised in the forested region of India, and my free time in my childhood or in my early teens was spent exploring the forests by myself, either walking or cycling. I used to bring home injured birds or small animals, would get them treated by vets, and with the help of the vets or other grown ups, I would release them back into the forest when the time came. I remember rescuing sparrows, jays, lizards, and even a baby crocodile when I was about 12 years old. Later, I even joined a team of animal rescuers in my neighborhood and rescued large water birds like storks, ibises, egrets, snakes, and in one instance, even a leopard. So at home, I had an environment where my dad inculcated a deep sense of scientific curiosity and inclination in me. I'm sorry. This deep love and connection with nature and a scientific bent of mind made me pursue biological sciences at university, and I was determined to be a biological researcher, discovering and studying the unexplored fauna of the Indian forests. But while I was in university, we had an environmental activist talk to us one day, and what he said shifted the course of my thinking actually. He said, "You can do all the research you want, discover all that you can, but all of this is possible only if our forests remain intact. Don't you think bright minds like y'all, equipped with the right technical knowledge, be out there protecting and preserving the forests first?" Those words were so profound, they gave me a couple of sleepless nights where I was evaluating my choices and decisions. Eventually, I chose the path of being a wildlife conservationist, protecting and preserving our forests and its biodiversity. So that was about it.
Can you tell me what were some of the challenges you experienced and how did you overcome them?
So during the days when I was growing up, at least in my part of the world, there were just a handful of women or who were biologists, who were wildlife biologists, or any kind of field scientists for that matter. It was heavily male dominated back in my time. Not many in the sector liked the idea of women to be one of them. Sadly, even those that I looked up to as mentors or inspiration nitpicked heavily and would make gender based comments of how incapable I am for the profession at the drop of a hat. But the same treatment was not meted out to my male counterparts, irrespective of their abilities. Honestly speaking, this breaks you as a young professional and you want to give up. But my passion for the cause made me stay. Passion and love as well. Eventually, I realized that it is just their incompetence that makes them toxic. Their toxicity is not a reflection of my inabilities. Now, the second challenge that was even bigger, I would say, was that I was trying to conserve forests and wildlife in a country which is a booming economy. In a country like mine, I come from India. So, in a country like mine, nature has been on the back burner and economic growth has been prioritized. This translates into everything on the planet to be a resource ready to be exploited. And when we finally fight the system, you're up against profit makers, men, a male dominated setup, which will again, which will again look down on you based on your gender. They even they even made ridiculous, unacceptable comments that men can fight this battle, women can go look after their houses. Sadly, it comes from men wearing three-piece suits talking about women's empowerment being one of their corporate social responsibilities. That is the sad part. Although this is heavily demoralizing, we need to be thick skinned and face it. Eventually, one learns how to take such people to task and work for the cause. And each time the cause wins, you personally feel victorious and meritorious.
Thank you, Kavita. That was very bold of you to break the glass ceiling in a gender inequality world. Our next wonderful special guest tonight that we're going to interview is Jeanette Monosoff Haley, PhD. Jeanette, born in Portland, Oregon, Jeanette is a psychologist who practiced initially in a clinical setting, but later moved to Taos, New Mexico, where she flourished in the indigenous culture of the area. She later moved to India with her husband and worked with the Adivasi tribal culture there. Jeanette is now living in Mexico, but still has ongoing educational and vocational projects in Ganespuri, India, which she will be telling us about it Jeanette, you showed great compassion for the women in the Adivasi tribal community in order to set up the Indigenous Women's and Youth Program. What circumstance did you observe that caught your attention?
Well, first, I want to say thank you so much for including me in this discussion and this opportunity to share a little bit of the history of what happened for me in India. The circumstances were I went out into the village area and started to see how rough life was for the indigenous people in that area. They had very little access to transportation, medical support, food. It's just a very, very difficult life for them. And the thing that really jumped out at me was we went to a village where the government had come in and installed a big well, electric pump, piping to clusters of houses. So all the infrastructure was there, but the pump broke and the women didn't have any money to pay the electric bill to run the pump. So they had to go back to their old way of walking miles to go get the water and continuing to carry it on their heads in these stainless steel pots 5 to 8 times a day. So that really started to haunt me. Is like, well, what I observed is that the men may have money, but they don't send that money to pay the electric bill or fix the pump. It doesn't bother them that their women are having to still walk 5 to 8 times to go get the water. So it occurred to me that the women needed their own money. And so that was something that continued to haunt me, is how can we find some way for these women to earn money? The only opportunities they had were construction, farming, and maybe if they were in a little village, maybe they could do some housekeeping, but mostly it was construction and farming.
Thank you, Jeanette. The second question I have for you is, we are curious to find out how you were able to get the Adivasi women to accept your help. What impediments did you experience, and were you able to address them successfully?
Well, since I did not speak Marathi, I didn't even speak Hindi. I landed in India about 3 months after being told I had that opportunity. So I didn't have a chance to prepare and learn a language. But I looked around for a woman who spoke English, who I could communicate with, and spoke Marathi. And through many referrals and situations, I found a woman. And so she and I would drive out into the community and she would interpret for me. She also helped me find a place that would, what I started to see was that sewing was an opportunity for these women, that sewing was acceptable skill. Other things were not. So I thought, okay, we need to get a sewing teacher. And since I didn't speak Marathi, I do sew, but I don't speak Marathi. I was not the right person. So this young lady who spoke Marathi and English, she took me to an organization, and they offered to connect me with an agency in Mumbai who would pay for a sewing teacher. So the connections just happen slowly, but by having a focus, eventually you find what you need.
Wow, that's amazing, Jeanette. What a wonderful journey you had from the US to India, and to be able to overcome the difficulties, especially the language barrier. Thank you for that.
The other thing that happened was a agency in Mumbai heard.
I'm sorry about that. There's a off and on, Jeanette. So I guess we can go ahead and continue. The next person that I'm going to interview is Penny.
Okay.
Penny Herrera Wardlow. was born in Taos, New Mexico. Penny found her purpose in life over 30 years ago. She started a nonprofit organization, Four Corners Animal League, and was instrumental in the rescue and adoption of thousands of dogs and cats, all the way from Colorado to Puerto Rico. She received a humanitarian award in 2005 from the Taos Chamber. Penny, you seem to have a particular sensitivity to the needs of animals. What led you to establishing the Four Corners Animal League? Unmute yourself, please.
After being gone for over 35 years, I came back to Taos to see and find that there were so many loose dogs and dumped dogs and cats in the woods, in bags, and just there was an overpopulation of dogs and cats. As I was a young person, I used to have dogs in my care that my dad had made me be the protector and the care of them. When my parents were killed at 8.5 years old, I was taken away from here and lived in 13 homes, sometimes two times in one home, back and forth by the time I was 16. The only people that were good to me and gave me love and nurturing were the dogs or cats or horses or birds or a mouse, whatever they had, because I was mostly being used or wanted people to abuse, or they were wanting to abuse me. But so I all my life, I was on the streets at 16. I don't have the education that other people had the opportunity to get, but I lived in California. I was on the streets at 16, but I always wanted to come back. And when I came back, I went to a retreat that to find the soul within and what my deepening connection with my soul in a cave in the mountains. And it was, I asked and was asked, what is my purpose? And the purpose said, it came to me like it is to care for animals. And I have a 7-year-old child and I don't have a job. And it was like trust. So I trusted. I said, okay, I trust. And eventually I was able to get into real estate, make my own money, and get help from a man that I had met and ladies that cared the same as I did about the animals. And we formed a group so that we could establish the Four Corners Animal League. And it's not just for the four corners of the states where we're in, but the four corners of the world. We have helped people in Kosovo. I have a friend that was instrumental in making Kosovo its own republic, and there were shooting dogs on the streets. And so they brought the men here to learn how we took care of animals because we had established how the spay-neuter program and education with children and education with the government, because they didn't understand what spaying and neutering was. And the overpopulation of animals was what we were trying to teach, was that by spaying and neutering, we would have less animals and so that we could care for our animals that we did have.
Wow, that was a very awesome thing that you had to do for these animals. And it is one of Mohanji's, I won't say pet project, but it is one of the things in his mind all the time about caring and nurturing animals and no violence towards them. So thank you for that, Penny. The second question that I have for you, Penny, is no doubt there were hurdles to jump over in setting up this organization. With its ambitious goals, it became global from US to the world. Would you please share what was most challenging and how you greeted it?
The challenges were meeting with the veterinarians so that they could give a discount and help people with their pets, because it's very expensive. And eventually, by putting together charts and information about how many animals, how one dog can produce so many animals, and in just 2 years, it'd be something like hundreds. So, and that's just from one dog or one cat. Will it produce even more? So, giving the same information to the government and going before the government so that they could, and actually talking to them about it being a public safety issue, that there are so many animals, that there's parvo distemper disease, and then attacks, and then there's packs of dogs. And so we were able to convince them that this was a very important issue, to give money towards us to help all these people that we could with their pets. And so there was a lot of there was also cockfighting and pit bull fighting at the time. That was 15 years ago, and we were instrumental in also helping at the legislature to make laws to stop the cockfighting and the pit bull fighting. So, and the education, we did a lot of flyers and posted at post offices and many places that we could, went into the schools and spoke to the children about caring for animals.
Well, thank you, Penny. That's both heartbreaking and heartwarming stories you have shared with us. We are now going to move to our participatory questions. I would like to ask Kavita first. What do you think is the greatest gift women can bring to the world?
So I would say the greatest gift a woman can bring to this world is the gift of unconditional love and softness. Women predominantly operate from their heart spaces, and every decision that we take, our approach towards any situation is primarily heart-based. And this is the attribute which also makes us patient, empathetic, nurturing, and kind. Majority of the people in the developmental sector working on the ground to uplift communities, to educate children, and to save animals are women. At least in my part of the world, majority of the developmental workers on the grassroots are women. And since we operate from the heart space, we also have a strong sense of intuition. We just know, we just can sense things. I think the world will be a much better place, more peaceful, more kind, more altruistic if it is run by women. I don't think there will be wars. I don't think there will be wars, deaths, gory blood, animal abuse, and the madness for profits if this world was owned and ruled by women. This is my opinion. But on a lighter vein, I remember reading somewhere that if women ruled the world, there would be no wars, just countries not talking to each other. So,
thank you, Kavita. I think most of us will agree with you on that. Jeanette, same question. What do you think is the greatest gift women can bring to the world?
What I have observed from working with women over these years is that their commitment to their family to make life better is their strongest gift that they can give to the world. They will sacrifice their own comfort and their own ease, their own luxury to benefit the family, their children, their loved ones. And I saw this over and over again, that the women who worked for us would
I'm sorry, Jeanette, you're breaking up because we have the constraint of time. Penny, the same question, please.
Self-love is really important. If following your heart and your instincts are really important, because a lot of us, or we do have a lot of the answers within ourselves. Women have the ability to bring strength and softness, and to at the same time discipline, and that brings balance to everything.
Thank you. That was great answer, Penny. Self-love. A lot of women are lacking in self-love, so that was perfect. So my second participatory question is, given the work you have done and your particular contribution to humanity, what would be your message to young women today? Kavita?
so my message to younger women today would be, see, it's like this. Women are naturally creative, intuitive, resilient, and multitasking, amongst other attributes. And each woman has her own unique endowment, which translates into her desires and ambition to be a certain person or pursue a certain life path or a certain career. I think this is the best time to be a woman in this world because today women have rights, women are empowered, women are liberated, and women can have a life of their choices, right? So, my message to younger women would be to make the most out of the situation today, which is so favorable. Put all of this to very good use to live a meaningful and worthy life. At least to the women from my part of the world, I would say do not fall. I repeat, do not fall or be pressured by societal or patriarchal narratives that are, that primarily you're a cook, you're a cleaner, or a baby making machine. No, 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 no. You have cerebral abilities. Exercise them, put them to good use, and have a meaningful, purposeful life. Most importantly, have your own money, have your own identity. What I mean is that when you are on your deathbed retrospecting the life that you had and the life that you've lived, let there be no regret that you could do it. You had the opportunity, but you didn't. That regret should never ever creep in when you're breathing your last. So make the most out of it. We live in wonderful times.
Thank you, Kavita. I hope all the young women and even older women could hear your message. Thank you for that. Penny? Oh, no. Jeanette, do you think your computer is working better? The same question. What is your message to the young women today? Jeanette?
It might not be the best answer, but give it your best. Give your time and whatever you can. In the future, you can always pivot and create a new solution. Don't overthink a situation. One of my spiritual mentors said, you can come up with an answer within 2 minutes and act. And when you act, the universe supports it.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you, Jeanette. Penny, your own thoughts about your own message to the young women today.
Learn from your experiences, be kind, listen, and do what you like to do. It can be around you wherever you are. It can be liking cooking, what you like to do. It can be art. It can be expressing yourself. Express yourself, and find the things that you love to do, and then you might even find the work in that way, and it'll never be like work. It'll just be fun for the rest of your life if you do what you like.
Thank you all. Now it's time for our audience or other people other women who are present for our program today. If you have, any of you have questions for our wonderful speakers, we welcome you to unmute yourself. You have to unmute yourself to ask your questions.
Dinah, I actually have a question while other people are thinking of the questions they may have. Sometimes we have people in our lives who have inspired us. And
I think we are also experiencing, Andrea is also experiencing some internet issue. I don't know what's going on today.
Sabi,
Yeah. Okay.
I just asked a question, Sabi. So I'm just wondering whether the different guests could possibly answer. Kavita, would you like to respond to that? Anybody who inspired you to do what you're doing?
A lot of people have inspired me time to time at different stages of my life, especially women. Maybe women like Vandana Shiva, who's been advocating very strongly for the organic farming movement in India. She's a woman of substance. She calls a spade a spade. She does what it is necessary. She is absolutely no nonsense. Really love her energies, the way she approaches a situation. She is one of my biggest inspirations. The other one would be Medha Patkar, who was fighting the Narmada Dam issue. She was always with the communities who were under the threat of being displaced because of the dam, rising the height of the dam. And her efforts have been phenomenal. A very simple woman. I saw her in the airport once, and that set me thinking, such a simple looking woman, such a down to earth and grounded woman. Whoever will comprehend, imagine that she's doing such wonderful work back on the grounds. She was just amazing. I mean, yeah, I think these are the two women who have always inspired me the most.
Thank you, Kavita. Thank you very much. If you don't mind, if you can type later on her name, because she sounds like really excellent,
Yeah,
far excellent
I'll type it
role
right.
model for us.
One is Medha Patkar, the other one is Vandana Shiva. You should look them up. They are phenomenal women.
So
We are
Penny,
interested.
yeah, so Penny, I'd like to ask you the same question. Was there somebody who inspired you in your life to do the good work that you're doing with all these animals?
Yes, it was my Aunt Lucy who didn't judge, but she always guided myself and my three sisters in a beautiful direction. So as we needed a role model, and she knew that. And that was wonderful because we all four of us had lost our parents at very young age. And so she was there for us and had patience, and she had humor and lots of love and kindness. And I think that's where I got it. And then, of course, being with my sisters and supporting each other, and was through life, which was wonderful. Jeanette Monosoff was also very instrumental in being my friend since she came to Taos.
It's always good to have a good friend, isn't it? By your
Right.
side, that walks with you and talks with you, and you can share the good times and then the challenging times as well. And Jeanette, since she mentioned your name, I'd love to hear what you have to say about somebody who might have been important in your life, who inspired you to do the wonderful work you've done with those people.
I'm hoping the internet works.
Sounds
My
good.
mother always supported me in getting education and trying new things. She gave me lots of opportunities. And then my first mother-in-law had a saying like, never say no, always say yes to life. Whatever it gives you, say yes. And she brought people into her life. She painted, she read, she pushed herself, and she's so inclusive of other people. So I think those two models were really important for me.
Well,
And Penny was a great support to me too. Living in Taos, we spent a lot of time encouraging each other and saying yes to what life gave us.
not everybody has a mother that's that in tune with their children, especially their daughters, Jeanette. So you were very, very fortunate. So Dinah, I'll give it back to you because I can see Swetha has her hand up.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Thank you, Swetha.
Okay, great. Well, thank you to everybody, and all the organizers and presenters and facilitators for this. My question to the panel was, I was curious, as Andrea kind of similarly asked, kind of external inspirations. I was wondering kind of how how Mohanji has, when he or the Guru Tattva kind of came into your life, how that shifted things up for you, right? Because you were probably doing some of this work on your dharmic work beforehand, possibly, or maybe not. But I'm just curious, maybe what role has the Guru Tattva or Mohanji played in your path, or was there a turning point, and how you saw things maybe transform or shift?
I'm not sure if, aside from Jeanette, I'm not sure if Penny or Malia knows about Mohanji. So maybe.
Well, it doesn't have to be Mohanji, the physical body person, which is why I said Guru Tattva. If you do have like a a spiritual influence or energy in your life, like how that has played out, and especially as a woman, how that's played out. So it doesn't have to be physically Mohanji as in the body, but and the name person, but it could be, anyone, or any influence, or which is why I said Guru Tattva.
Sweta is saying if you have any kind of a spiritual inspiration or guru in your life that inspired you, so to speak, or guided you.
Maybe Sadhguru from Isha.
Well, I think more specifically, the question is kind of how that played a role in your dharmic work, right? Like, so it could be a person, an energy, or something. You might have been doing this work beforehand, but then, something could have influenced you, or you had a deeper awareness about something that kind of shifted it. So what was that turning point, or what was the influence? And then number two, what was the turning point that kind of maybe deepened or shifted your work a little bit, even, more, you had a deeper commitment or deeper conviction or something might have, shifted in the path.
Honestly, right from the beginning, right from my childhood, it has always been nature that has inspired me. I don't know, I intuitively feel like I can communicate with every element of nature. I always feel like that, whether it is the plants, the water, the rocks, the animals. I have an intuitive connect with animals and with every other living and non living being. So each time I have a setback or I want motivation, nature has always motivated me, to be honest. And on the way, I did meet some wonderful spiritual beings that did help me, take the cause further or work even deeper with a fresh perspective or with varied perspectives, in a manner of speaking. So, one such man is Sadhguru from Isha Foundation. He's really been an inspirational source for me, not just in the kind of work I'm doing, but to introspect and look at why I'm doing what I'm doing and how better I can improve myself so that I can make the most out of what I'm endowed with by the universe. If I have an endowment which is a love for nature, an intrinsic love for nature, and an intrinsic urge to protect it, to study it, to love it, if I have that already in me, how can I fine tune it better so that I can use this gift to serve God, to serve nature? So he's been a guiding force as well.
How about you, Penny? Do you have anyone similar to Kavita's inspiration?
What I have since I was very little was being able to understand or be in sync with the animals. That it's even to now, if I happen to be driving by a field and somehow I turn my head for some reason, and there might be a horse who is actually doesn't have any water. I just feel that I've always had this connection with the animals and being in nature, because I've always lived in an area where there's bears and mountain lions and just the mountains, being in nature with the animals. And that's all I can say, is that I'm in tune with that and with the animals.
Thank you, Penny.
This is my from a previous life. I've come to this life for this purpose.
Nice.
What an insight, huh, Penny? Sweta, thank you for your question. Anybody else has a question before we move on to our next program? Actually, it's we have a special presentation to our guest.
How about we let Jeanette share how the presence of someone special and the connection helped her.
I've been a seeker since I was a little girl. And once we landed in India, in Ganeshpuri, and felt the vibration of Bhagwan Nityananda, we felt like we had received what we had been seeking for. We were so deeply inspired and touched by being in his presence at the Samadhi Shrine. And so it was just so natural. We wanted to give back because we were being given something so beautiful and infinite, and it was what we wanted. And so we wanted to give back to India because we were getting what we wanted. It was indescribable. So that's really was the motivation, is to make life better for people in India because we were getting what we desired.
Again, thank you for all your beautiful answers to a very simple question from Sweta. So if there's no more questions from the audience, we have to move on. Andra, for the special presentation.
Actually, my internet, I think Kavita has a question. I think she raised her hand. So, Kavita, please.
Actually, I would like to add on. So, I have known Jeanette. I'm sorry. I've known, that's the name she's known with in the locals, in the Adivasis. Adivasis call her Jeanetta. They don't call her Jeanette. So, yeah, Jeanette and I have known each other for quite some time now. And I have seen Jeanette work, and honestly, when I had seen her working, I was really confused. A white woman without knowing the local languages, she still manages to do something so phenomenal in that area. It just failed, I really failed to understand that. I still can't wrap my head around it because I've seen her for years together. We worked in the same area very closely. She worked on different issues, I worked on different issues, but I've seen the kind of work she does. I know the situations she faces on the ground, not just as not just the kind of challenges you face in work, but also because she's a foreigner on that land. I've seen the kind of situation she faces and the grace, calmness, and dignity with which she handles them. You have to see it. It is worth watching. So, yeah, honestly speaking, Jeanette has been really, really motivating in her own ways. Very fascinating. You have to see her work. You have to see the women around her. They are glued to her. They behave very differently when she is around. She doesn't have to do anything. She just has to be there. Her presence does it all. She's got some magical vibes around her. It just happens. It just happens. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe that is what is visible to me. Maybe it wasn't that simple, simple and straightforward. But yeah, hats off to you, Jeanette. Seriously, honestly.
Thank you, Kavita. It was
That
a
is
great
so nice.
blessing to be there.
You're all interconnected. You know each other directly or indirectly. This is quite a blessing for us to hear that you have your own karmic connections. And thank you for sharing your stories, your wonderful, challenging stories with us. And now for our presentation to you, Andra.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Kavita, Jeanette, and Penny, for sharing your heartfelt experiences. We appreciate your efforts to be an environmental advocate for social, educational, and economic change. This would be for you, Kavita. And of course, to you, Jeanette, for being an innovator for educational and vocational projects to help women become economically independent. And of course, also being a guru to Kavita. I needed to add that. And then also to you, Penny, for your compassion and efforts to set up this wonderful Four Corners Animal League to rescue and care for stranded dogs and cats all the way from Colorado all the way to Puerto Rico. What a feat. And we talk about people that are marginalized. Well, sometimes animals are marginalized also. So you rose to the occasion, and we really appreciate your effort in doing that. And also, I must say that you're not only helping the animals, but you were raising consciousness with the young people too, so they can follow in your footsteps, Penny. So thank you so much. And now we come to the end of our program, where we're going to invite Tina Arya, who we've also heard from a few minutes ago, to give the certificates of appreciation to our guests. Tina is a rather extraordinary person herself. Tina has been a strong pillar and a council member of the USA Mohanji Foundation. And Tina tirelessly works to help people in any way she can. and selflessly uses all of her manifold skills to empower women. Welcome, Tina, and thank you so much for joining us today to give these fabulous certificates.
Thank you, Andra, and thank you all the guests today. Your stories, your work is so inspirational, wonderful. I'm so happy that I'm here today to listen to all of you. I just want to very briefly, while I'm here, I want to very briefly talk about Mohanji Foundation. So Mohanji Foundation is founded by Mohanji, and through this foundation, Mohanji inspires people to add value to society through kindness, compassion, unconditional love, and nonviolence. These are his mottos. And of course, his main teaching is be you. So what I am really, seeing in all three of you is that, by nurturing what feels right to you, what is in your core, you have been able to do so much for the world. You're serving the world by nurturing the uniqueness in you. And that is what Mohanji inspires us, each one of us, to nurture the uniqueness. We're all unique. Nobody, and when we, accept and acknowledge that, there is no comparison, there is no competition, and we do what we are good at. And that is what gives us success. That is what adds value to this world. So I just wanted to share that because I see this happening with all three of you. Really, really inspiring to hear what each one of you is doing. I also feel that, it is empowered women who can empower others. So all three of you seem so empowered, and that self-love is there, and that is why you're able to give it out to the world. So really, really wishing you all the very best in all your future endeavors. And thank you so much for sharing your wonderful stories today. And of course, I will present the certificates now. So the first award of appreciation for community leadership goes to Ms. Penny Herrera Wadlow for founding Four Corners Animal League and her dedication to animal welfare, adding value to United States through impactful spay-neuter initiatives, rescue operations, and educating children on caring for animals. Mohanji Foundation is so pleased to award you this certificate, Penny. We really thank you for your amazing work.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm honored.
We are honored to have you here. Yes, so now the award for appreciation for community leadership from Mohanji Foundation USA to Ms. Kavita Malya for her lifelong dedication to integrating natural and social sciences for biodiversity conservation and community empowerment initiatives. Thank you so much, Kavita. It was really, really wonderful to listen to your inspiring work that you're doing. And we thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm really honored and really humbled, not just for this opportunity, but also to listen to other people's stories as well. Thank you so much once again. I'm really, really humbled and honored. A lot of gratitude.
Thank you. And now the award of appreciation for community leadership to Dr. Janet Wonsoff-Haley. Thank you so much, Janet, from Mohanji Foundation USA for your amazing work. Your certificate is for founding Indigenous women's and youth program in India, empowering Adivasi tribal communities through education, culture preservation, and sustainable livelihood initiatives. Thank you very much for your amazing work. You really, really inspire all of us who know you.
Thank you so much, Tina, and to the Mohanji Foundation and all of you for listening and supporting the three of us and encouraging us to keep going. It really was a great blessing to be part of this morning with all of you. So thank you so much.
That was really beautiful, Tina. You truly are a wonderful empowerment Acharya. Hats off to you. The Heart to Heart Women's Circle is meant to be an international women's program. We encourage anyone who is interested in knowing about the future Heart to Heart programs, or if you are interested in setting up a Heart to Heart Women's Circle in your city, please contact us. We are here to help you. There are a lot of women out there who need our support in challenging times. So we are here to listen and support you with encouraging stories of women who have overcome obstacles and made a difference in this world. Our contact details are in the chat box. Please feel free to contact us. Over to you, Andra.
Thank you so much, Savi. And again, thank you so much for all of our guests and for all of you who've joined us. We really appreciate you being interested in all these wonderful things that women are capable of doing. And all of you who are women can also do that. And of course, men too, as we know. We all need to do our part in giving back to the world. So we end tonight's program with a beautiful poem that honors the graciousness, courage, and compassion of women. One of these wonderful women, Namitha, who we haven't seen today, is actually the our backbone of this wonderful program, has worked so very hard with contacting the guests, keeping up with everything. And so we're so grateful for Namitha Bhatt for doing that. And not only did she help put this program together, but she also put together this magnificent poem that you're going to be hearing. And so it echoes the exquisite worth of womanhood. And I'm delighted to share its wisdom with you to end this amazing program. In the garden of womanhood, a sisterhood blooms, a tapestry of strength, dispelling life's glooms. Bound by a thread of shared love and care, sisters in spirit, a bond beyond compare. In the quiet echoes of dawn's first light, together we stand in our glorious might, in our laughter and the whisper of tears. O women of strength, rise beyond fears. Amidst life's tempests, let courage ignite. Through the seasons of life, shine our radiant light. In the mirror of time, reflections of grace, sisters uplift in every embrace. In the garden of dreams, we plant seeds of hope, sisters together, helping each other cope. From the strength of a gaze to the warmth of a hand. With kindness as our shield, we eternally stand. With each heartbeat, our joy and purpose align. With every battle won, our spirits shine. United we rise like the phoenix so bright. A symphony of strength casting out night. So, here's to the sisters, both near and afar, in the constellation of womanhood, each a shining star. In this sacred circle, hearts entwined like a vine, sisterhoods embrace a sanctuary divine. Thank you.
To all of our sisters around the world, we wish you a happy and fulfilling summer. We will see you again, hopefully in the fall, with more powerful women who made a difference in the world. We would like to invite you all again and thank you for today's attendance to our meeting, our program, and hopefully we'll see you again in the fall. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.